Well, you know, there's nothing like summertime in Oklahoma to see the crepe myrtles just showing off.
Yes.
I love crepe myrtles, and they do so well here.
They sure do, and they bloom all summer long. It's one of the most durable, easy plants to grow. They bloom all summer long, and there's other great attributes to them that people don't look at as much. Like the bark of a crepe myrtle is very beautiful even in the wintertime, so it makes crepe myrtles a 365 days a year plant.
I totally agree, and in the fall, you've got this beautiful color. And a lot of times it'll sneak up on you because you're not planting it like a maple or something you plant specifically for fall color.
Fall color is another great benefit to the crepe myrtle, that's for sure.
Well, you've got a big one back here, and I love it because the older they get, you really do start to see the benefit.
That's what I was talking about, the bark. The bark is so beautiful. It's very smooth, but it has spots where it's mottled and has brown and all these other colors in there. And in the wintertime, it just looks beautiful if it's maintained properly. I have a big problem with the way folks maintain crepe myrtles around this part of the country sometimes. In fact, I refer to it as crepe murder. And what I mean by that is they will come into their crepe myrtle and they'll cut it off right here. And it just ruins it. It just sticks and it looks ugly, and the tree will never get this character and this beautiful growth habit when you come in and you chop it off at the knee every year like that. So I wanted to talk a little bit about how you might prune your crepe myrtles and when you might prune your crepe myrtles. Crepe myrtle time is February. Somewhere around the end of February is when you want to prune your crepe myrtles. And there's a lot of different ways to prune it. If you have a large crepe myrtle, I prune it just like a tree. See where the branches have been taken off here? If a branch is going in the wrong direction, you take it off. If a branch is crossing another branch, you take it off. And then just trim it like a tree and let it grow like a tree. Take bottom branches off the trunk, and you'll end up with a really nice canopy at the top with a really pretty trunk at the bottom.
And part of the reason is not only to prune it for the way that it looks, but also to aerate it.
Yes, very good point. Air circulation is important on crepe myrtles. They can get some disease problems if they're not in good sun with good air circulation.
A mildew or black spot type looking.
Exactly. That's right. Now there's other ways to prune crepe myrtles. Like the dwarf crepe myrtles, you can just let them go and allow them to just grow and be a small shrub. And you can take even the larger crepe myrtles like this red rocket, let it grow like a shrub. Don't prune it at all. Don't chop it from the top. Don't chop it from the bottom. And it will be a real large bush, up to 15 feet tall, but it'll be bushy all the way to the ground and flowers all the way to the ground. Again, as opposed to just chopping it off in the middle like some people do.
So if you know that you want a bush, then what you want to do is get one that has a lot of branches inside.
That's right, a lot of trunks on the inside.
And because if you're wanting a tree, then it'd be better to have one strong leader.
That's right. In fact, in a minute, we're going to look at a single trunked crepe myrtle. You can do a multi-trunk like this, but you can also do a crepe myrtle as a single trunk. And these are several varieties here, just different colors. And that's another thing I love about crepe myrtles. They come in all the different colors of the rainbow: red, pink, white, all kinds of different colors. And here we've got red rocket, which has that really dark fire engine red flowers. And then this giant one up here is a coma, which is a white flowering variety. And then we've got some other varieties with pink flowers back here. I think that's pinky back there.
I've had some a weeping white crepe myrtle that has had several babies through the years. It's dropped the birds have dropped the seeds, and I mean so now I have 3 in the place of 1. But they're beautiful.
That's neat. Speaking of weeping, this is a weeping white crepe myrtle. The weeping varieties, and this is a purple as well, they grow horizontal and they never get large. And that's a new development in crepe myrtles. Crepe myrtles used to be just a giant tree. Now we have a crepe myrtle for every size. We have crepe myrtles that get 3 feet, crepe myrtles that get 6 feet, crepe myrtles that get 10 feet. 20 feet, and so you can put the right crepe myrtle size in the right color for the right spot.
So how big will these get?
These are only going to get a few feet tall, just maybe 2 or 3, and these grow kind of horizontally. The weeping ones might get 3 feet wide, but 2 feet tall.
So how would you use that in the landscape, in a mid-border or in the front?
Yeah, I would use it as a foundation plant, something like you would use a boxwood or a knockout rose, something along those lines. And then this is tightwad. And it just grows in a round. It's called tightwad. It was developed here in Oklahoma by Dr. Carl Whitcomb, and it grows in just a round shape. and it has red flowers and a great name because it stays real tight and real congested. It almost doesn't look like a crepe myrtle anymore, does it? It has these tiny little leaves, smaller flowers, and a real small growth habit.
Interesting. So what color flowers?
They are red.
Red, okay.
And then another interesting thing about tightwad is the new growth is red in color, and that's another great development with crepe myrtles. They have developed crepe myrtles to have red new growth. And here's a new one. This is called a Rhapsody in Pink, and look at the leaves on that. They're purple in color. Crepe myrtles don't start blooming until June or so. So to have all the new growth be red, then the whole plant is red through the spring, and then the flowers start, and then they have this one has pink, some of them, this one has the dark pink, but also has that red new growth. And then here's a few other things I wanted to show. Here is a big, beautiful crepe myrtle that's been grown as a tree. This has been grown from a young age as a single trunk tree. Again, look at the bark and look at the character. And just imagine that thing chopped off. It would be horrible to ruin the beautiful character and growth habit of this fabulous crepe myrtle.
Yeah, and with the leaves, it almost has a like a lace bark elm look
Almost
to
does, yes. And you go down south and look at the beautiful crepe myrtles, and that's what you'll find. You'll be walking under a crepe myrtle and think it's a tree, and you'll look up and see the flowers and be like, wow, that's a giant crepe myrtle.
What kinds of fertilizer do they need? They don't need much, do they?
They don't need a lot of fertilizer. I like our TLC tree and shrub food once a year. They don't really require a heck of a whole lot more than that.
Okay.
And I've got a few others. I know the segment was supposed to be just about crepe myrtles, but I also wanted to talk about a few other plants that are just as good as crepe myrtles and can be used almost interchangeably with the crepe myrtle. And I wanted to start with desert willow.
I just love that.
That is
a
great
wonderful
plant. This thing is so durable, blooms all summer long. I always show the one that we have up in the parking lot that's surrounded by asphalt, that never gets watered. It's the toughest, most durable thing that you'll ever find. And the hummingbirds love that trumpet-shaped flower there. The hummingbirds will come and just tear that flower up. Another thing I like about desert willow is the leaf texture. It's very nice texture. I use it up against big boulders and rocks and coarse textured type things, and it really stands out in contrast against other more coarse textured things. This is Rose of Sharon, or Althea, and it's an old-fashioned plant.
I was going to say, you remember that in growing up.
Yes, in Grandma's garden.
Right.
And comes in a lot of different types, and it's a relative of the hibiscus. And the flower looks very hibiscus-like. But the reason I had put it in with the crepe myrtles is it blooms all summer long, just like the crepe myrtles. Starts early and blooms non-stop all summer long. And then the last one I wanted to show, it's not in bloom, but this is chase tree, but you can see the berries, and the chase tree has a beautiful blue bloom, and I'll probably take off these seed heads and get another whole set of blooms coming on, and then again will bloom all summer long. It also has these great seed heads that the birds like, small birds like finches, chickadees, they will come and eat the seeds off of this, and so it's doing double duty for the landscape. The butterflies like it in the summertime, and then the birds like it as the season progresses.
Well, thank you, Brian. Appreciate you showing us all the different kinds of wonderful flowery show-offs for the garden.
My pleasure.